Alright fellas, what's going on? Denonu here, the man with black privilege. And we're back with another commentary video. And in this video we're going to be talking about Battlefield 1. Yeah. Battlefield fucking 1. Okay. Just to get this right out the gate, I'm not a huge Battlefield player like that. I don't know Life the Game. I don't do none of that kind of sort of stuff. I like the game for what it is. I like the big open things. I like the sniping in it. Even though sometimes I think it can be bullshit, but I like the big open maps. Not necessarily into the whole vehicle thing, but I got friends who are and love the game for what it is. I've been playing Battlefield since what, Bad Company 1? I didn't play Battlefield before that, but I got in it with Bad Company and then bought every Battlefield since then. And when they made this one, I didn't know what they were gonna do. I follow the gaming news and stuff like that, but I don't follow DICE or the people who make who make Battlefield to see what they're doing before the trailers come out. I just watch the trailers, and as the news comes out, I follow it. So the reveal trailer came out, and it's World War I, and I just started shaking my head because I'm not gonna buy this one. I'm somebody who I fucking hate World War shooter games. I do, and it's mainly because the aesthetics are so. They try to make it true to the time period, so the aesthetics of the guns, of the vehicles, everything's so mechanical. They didn't have a lot of guns in World War I and 2. You had the famous guns that everybody know, and then you got a bunch of prototype guns and either makeshift guns that they had to just make up, like pipe rifles and shit like that. And to me, I'm not a fan of that. Like some people, it's just they love that shit. Like they love zombies or gangster movies or gangster type games and feels and stuff like that. I'm not one of those people. My thing is modern day shooters, FPSs, and I will love the hell out of a sci-fi game. That's my shit. Like I fucking love Crysis. That is my shit. Because it's a sci-fi game. That's just what I'm into. And I grew up, but I was playing Xbox and all of that when every first person shooter was a World War I and 2 game. And I remember that shit. It was like a good almost ever since Medal of Honor came out. That was way back before COD came out. You had Medal of Honor, and then like ever since then, games, those World War I and 2 games, probably besides Halo. That was like the only other shooter that I can remember. That and maybe arena shooters were still around back then too. But besides those, if it was like an FPS game, it was a World War I and 2 game. That was it. And I don't want to go back to that. I think that Battlefield can go back to it. I'm not saying that they should do what I want. It's just that it's not for me. I probably won't be picking the game up. For those of people who love it, hey, fine, play the hell out of it. I think they're in a good position right now. Just because I'm not feeling the game and I probably won't get it, I think they're in a good position. Like I said in my previous video, I was talking about the Infinite Warfare trailer and Call of Duty as a whole for a little bit. I always think that Activision, they could take Call of Duty, them more than anybody else, because they're an annually released game. They can come out with a future game, a modern game, and a back in the past game, and just rotate. Battlefield and DICE, they can't do that. So they're right now the only shooter on the market that's gonna make a World War I and 2 game. And there's probably, I'm just gonna throw a number out there, but I'm just gonna say a couple generations of gamers, the latter half of the 360 generation, and then you got the newer gamers that are coming up now with the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. They never played World War I and 2 games. So to them, if they're into it, it's going to fascinate them to want to play it. DICE is doing a good thing, even though, like I said, it's not for me, But right now, they're the only World War II game on the market. So I think they're going to get a lot of business because of that. Everybody's tired of the modern, of the sci-fi type thing, because sci-fi games are now modern and sci-fi games are like how World War II games used to be before COD 4 and modern FPS games came out, where they got played to death. So now modern and sci-fi is played to death. So now, by them being the only one that's not that, I think they're going to get a lot of people to go over. People who play COD, people who play Halo, people who play other games, because they want something different as far as the universe. They want to wrap themselves up in that gritty, dark tone that was World War I and II, that trench warfare. Like they can get wrapped up in that. And I think it's a good business decision. Can't talk today. It's a good business decision that they're doing, because like I said, by them being the only game on the market, they can corner that market with those people who like that idea. It's a very good thing. But sadly, I'm not gonna be the one to enjoy it. I guess I'm gonna have to stick to Halo and any other shooter that comes out, because I'm not going back. I can't go back. Nope, not gonna happen. But some things I did like and dislike, though. Aerial combat's gonna be kind of weird. They're gonna have to just, like, half of the things in that game, they're gonna probably have to pull out of their ass and actually make up. Meaning they're not gonna have to make up planes, they're not gonna have to make up guns. They're gonna probably use any kind of prototype weaponry that was ever thought of back in the day. Because World War I and II, they didn't have a lot of weaponry back in the day like that. So normally, typically a Battlefield game has tons of weapons. So they're going to probably have to put tons of prototype weapons, or weapons that were planned out but never built, kind of sort of thing. And because of the technology, I don't see how it's going to be a huge drastic change. Like, you have like F-15s or F-18s and stuff in the Battlefield games, right? You got missiles, you got the machine gun, you got flares, you got all of that stuff, right? You never had none of that shit in World War I. Half of the time, the planes just had the machine gun. That's all they had. So it's unless they just pull shit out of their ass and just say, okay, all planes suddenly have the prototype missile or some shit. It's gonna be a downgrade from what everybody's used to. Tanks weren't nowhere near as mobile as they are now, not by far. So, are we gonna experience that in the physics engine? Are tanks gonna be slow as shit? I mean, if it all depends on how they try to make their physics, because they've always trying to be like, okay, well, we want to be as realistic as possible without being a military simulator. And if they decide to do that and make things slower and stuff like that, because that's how World War I was. It wasn't a modern war with things happening all the time. Half the time, it was just people in trenches just sitting there dying of disease and whatever they call that shit when your feet get soaked in water and you don't dry it for a long time and your feet get all messed up. I mean, it's just like World War I wasn't a very exciting war. I mean, World War II is where you had all the battles between all the different countries and shit. You had that in World War I, but it wasn't nowhere near as exciting or glorifying as World War II. So I just don't know how they're going to do it. Maybe down the line when the game comes out, or maybe before it comes out, they have a trailer and something will pique my interest. But as far as right now, nothing is grabbing me. Nothing in that whole entire trailer is making me like, oh man, I got to get this game. Because number one, I'm a sniper at heart. So they're probably going to be like one or two snipers in the game, because they didn't really snipe during World War I, unless they just throw in some bunch of make-believe guns and just you have them. You didn't have a lot of exchangeable stocks or scopes, or modifying your weapons wasn't really all that common back in the day. So, what are you just gonna have, a bayonet? You know, that's all they had back in the day. Maybe you might get a scope if you were like, you know, one of those really, really big, long scopes that was on certain marksman or sniper rifles. But even sniping back then, it was a prototype thing, so they didn't have snipers like they have them now. And it's just, I want to see more. But if they stay with how they've been typically doing things for for the past 3 or 4 games, then I know I'm not gonna like it, because it's gonna feel like a downgrade of a game, unless they just say, okay, well, in the storyline it's like that, but in the multiplayer it's just like, just with back in the day stuff. And if you do that, it's like, it feels kind of weird, because you can't just take a back in the day gun and throw like a marksman scope on it. That's not how it worked. It don't work that way. But who knows? I'm sure millions of people are gonna buy it. I probably won't be one of them, but anyway, it is what it is. That's just been my thoughts on Battlefield 1. Also, the name fucking sucks. I'm sorry. Any video game or movie that does like, oh, Battlefield 1, and it's not like, it's like, are you rebooting the franchise? No. Then why are you calling it Battlefield 1? Oh, it's the first war. World War 1 wasn't the first fucking war. we've had many wars before World War 1, but I don't know. I think it's a dumbass name change. It reminds me of the Xbox One, because that whole bullshit. Because now when now when I say Xbox One, they're gonna be like, okay, well, you mean the new one, right? I'm like, no, I mean the big fucking black and green brick that was bigger than your VCR. But companies do that. I don't know why. Maybe it's a marketing thing, but to me it just seems stupid. Why couldn't you call your game Battlefield 5? Or how about this? Have a subtitle. Battlefield Trench Warfare or some shit. I don't know. But anyway, my name is Denonu, the man with the biggest and the most blackest privilege on YouTube. And I'll see you guys in the next commentary video. Peace out.